Hey all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Becca. I'm a full-time software engineer, a Pilates instructor and someone with multiple passions. If you're new here, I've just been made redundant from my full-time job as a software engineer, and I'm just going to take you along on my job search process on this redundancy period. I've already made a part 1 of this video where I talk you through literally everything from scratch. So me writing my CV, me figuring out a redundancy plan, and just my whole thought process. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the link here. But this video here, I just want to take you on the next stage of this process. So I'm going to be applying for jobs, sorting out my cover letter, and just going through the application process with you. So maybe you're in a similar situation where either you've been made redundant, or maybe you're just looking to enter the tech world. Maybe you're looking for a new job as a software engineer, or maybe you just want to see what it's like, get a little insight into the process, the application process for technical interviews. So let's get straight into it. So last time you saw me looking through my LinkedIn and searching for different jobs, and I went through and saved different jobs that I like the look of. Today we're actually going to get to applying for those jobs. So I have applied for a couple already, but today I've got a new one that I want to apply for. And I'm just going to talk you through that process and talk you through how I write the cover letter for this job. So I have a template for a cover letter already, and this is a cover letter I've used to apply for previous jobs, and I also have cover letters from every job I've applied for in the past and every job I've been given. So I always save versions on my laptop just so I can have those to refer back to. I mean, when you're applying for jobs and writing cover letters, you should never really need to start a cover letter from scratch, especially if the job role you're applying for is the same as one you've applied to in the past. You can just kind of tweak things and make it more specific to the company, but in essence, the template should be the same because most jobs will require the same skills and they'll be looking for pretty much the same thing. So because I've already got this template here, it shouldn't take me too long to write it. I just need to make small and minor tweaks. How I'm going to start off first of all is by looking at the job description, and I'm just going to go through and see what that employer wants and what they're looking for, what their essential skills are, what their desirable skills are, and just any keywords I can pick from the job description and maybe the company's page that I feel like I need to include in my cover letter. So I think the key thing with cover letters is making sure it's very specific to the company and to the role that you're applying for. So the company want to know that you've read the job description, that you know what their company is about, and you just really need to stand out by making sure that you make it very specific to them and why you want to work for them in particular and not any old random job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the job description to start with, and I'm just going to copy the job description for now and paste it into a Word document. And so for this job in particular, it has the required skills and then the desirable ones. So what I need to have and what would be great to have. And I'm just going to pick these keywords and highlight those. So I'll just highlight them in a different colour. And then for each of these different skills that I've highlighted, I'm going to make sure I take those and put them in my cover letter if they're not already. Obviously, only put them in your cover letter if you can demonstrate those skills and if you do have them, but make sure you're mentioning them explicitly. If this job requires that you need React, make sure you mention that. If this job requires that you know how to do TDD, test-driven development, make sure you mention that, because they're not going to know that you can do it unless you mention it. And so for each of these skills that you're highlighting and talking about, make sure you have some evidence to back it up. So there's no point just listing them all off and saying, I have this, I can do this, oh, and I can do a little bit of this. You need evidence. Give some real statistics and maybe highlight any of the real impact that you've had and really make it clear how you've used it in the past. And something that works well with cover letters, I think, is organising it into separate paragraphs and having a paragraph to demonstrate either a skill or a set of skills that go together. And then you can expand on each one and really show what impact you've had. So really outlining how you've used those skills, but also how they've helped the team and maybe how they've helped the company. Really talking about the output that you gave, the output that it led to, rather than just what you did, but focus on what impact that had. And with your cover letter and your CV in general, I think you just really need to mention those keywords. Mention all the technologies you've used, the different frameworks, the different tools, and just, I guess, the tech buzzwords, as long as you have evidence to back it up. Maybe sometimes people, like an actual human on the other side, does read it. Maybe sometimes it's scanned with AI or some technology and they're looking to pick out keywords. So you don't want your cover letter or your CV just to be glossed over and skimmed over and not even selected because you haven't mentioned those skills. You want to make sure whatever tool or human is reading it, that they can easily see it and think, okay, yeah, this person ticks off this and this and this, and they tick off at least all the essential skills we want. So I cannot stress it enough. If you have those skills, really make sure they're written down because you don't want to lose right at the first hurdle. And another thing I'm going to do is make it very specific to this company. So in this cover letter, I'm going to pick apart things that I specifically like about this company and mention their name. So if you're using a cover letter from a previous job, really make sure that you don't mention another company's name by mistake. Make sure you've got rid of all of that before sending it off to this company. So we need to make it very tailored to them and make them think that their company is the ideal place for you. So I'm just going to clean up my CV, add in those extra keywords and make it very specific to this company. Maybe swap bits out or just change the wording slightly from my old applications. Another piece of advice for writing a cover letter, I think, is to not just focus on the technical aspect, but focus on maybe your soft skills and other aspects of you. So I think a cover letter is really good at showcasing what you want to showcase. I think a CV is great for listing your different skills, listing your qualifications and all of your career-based achievements. But I think on a cover letter you can really expand a little and show a little bit of your personality. Not going too much in depth and not making it a big essay, but just adding a little bit to show, I guess, your enthusiasm, maybe your soft skills, maybe how good you are at communicating, and maybe just talking about how much you enjoy problem solving, or just, adding a little bit of personality in there. And I think with a cover letter, the start and the end are super important. So you need a strong opening paragraph to introduce yourself maybe, or something about that company. And I know I keep mentioning it, but something about that company in particular. You really have to show you why you want to work for them. So a strong opening and again a strong closing. People always remember the first bit and the last bit of whatever they've read or whatever they've heard. Your cover letter, unlike an interview, you have time to perfect it. So really spend time working on perfecting your cover letter before actually submitting it. And if you don't have much real working experience of being a software engineer, or maybe you're applying for a job that's in a different tech stack to the one you've been working with previously, you need to highlight why you want that change and maybe highlight any projects or self-development stuff, or maybe any extra reading you've done around this new technology to demonstrate why you want to make that switch or why you'd be good at that role. If you don't have much practical knowledge to demonstrate or show, then you need to be able to explain that through your cover letter. Okay, next I just want to talk about how I prepare for interviews. You may or may not know, but when applying for a software engineering role, it is more than likely you will have several rounds of interviews. Some of those will be technical and some of those will be non-technical. You may also have take-home tasks and technical coding challenges that you need to do, but right now I'm going to focus more on the ones that are actual face-to-face or online over Zoom talking interviews. And again, within these talking ones, some may be more technical based and some non-technical. So first of all, starting off with the technical talking interviews, I just want to try and think of questions and answers that I can prepare for these interviews and have an idea of what they might ask me. So I have a couple of interviews coming up, so I'm just going to kind of, prepare myself and think of everything that could come up. I guess you can never know everything, but you can kind of have a rough idea of the basics and I guess just prepare for what you can. So here's where we can use ChatGPT, and we can use ChatGPT to help us prepare for our technical interviews as well. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm just going to ask it maybe the types of questions that could be asked and how I can prepare for those. So I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to ask it, I'll say I am applying for software engineering role, and be more specific if you can. So a Java software engineering role, an interview, what are some questions they might ask me and how can I prepare? So ChatGPT is giving me a whole list of things to prepare. So this is perfect. Now it's given me kind of a whole plan and a whole different learning plan. So I can take these topics, I can put them somewhere else, save them somewhere else, and then create my own timetable around these. Maybe spending a day on each or however long I need, maybe an hour on each, and then working my way through them just so I feel more prepared. And then, for example, if I want a little more, if I want ChatGPT to do a little more for me, because, why not? I can ask the same question back to it. So I can say, take this question, how does a hash map work in Java? And ask it straight back. And there we go. I've got my questions from ChatGPT and I've got my answers. So we're sorted for the next few days of our learning plan and our revision and our interview prep. Now, another type of interview you'll probably get is one around your values and kind of whether you're a right culture fit for the company. This is usually towards the end stages, and I guess it depends on the company, but it's usually towards the end stages. So you need to do your research on the company and research the company values, research the company purpose, their mission, and just think about how you align with that. I guess this also helps you as well, because you don't want to be applying to a company where you don't agree with any of their values, you don't agree with their mission, and you don't feel like you're a right fit for the company in terms of their culture. So this is really important for both you and for them. So I would start by Googling their different values, looking at their website, looking at their career page, and then thinking about their values in more detail. Maybe thinking about how you've demonstrated each of those values, because I can guarantee you will 100% get asked that question. I think in pretty much every company I've applied for, I've been asked about their values and how I can demonstrate their values. So that is definitely a top priority. Another question they will most likely ask in your interview is a general question like, tell me about yourself, or tell me about you and your experience, or tell me what you're currently working on. So you need to have something in your head. You don't need to plan it word for word, because that's also not great and you don't want to be too static, but you need to have something in your head, kind of like a go-to little introduction that you can say and talk about yourself. I think a lot of people feel very uncomfortable talking about themselves and I guess talking about their different achievements, but you need to be comfortable with that. You need to be able to summarize yourself and all of your achievements in a nice, concise way, but talk confidently about yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself, how are they supposed to have confidence in your abilities? So this is really your chance to show out and just tell them who you are as a person and as an employee. And a final tip I have for you for doing well in interviews and performing at your best is really going in with confidence and just going in thinking of the value that you can provide to them. You really have to be your own cheerleader here, and again, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. You need to go in remembering what value you can provide rather than having the mentality of thinking, oh my god, I hope they want me. Go in and think, they are making a mistake if they don't take me on. Think about it. I think you can flip the narrative as well, right? Because you actually have so much power in an interview as well. The company, they want to attract the best talent and they want to hire you. They want to find people to hire. So you also need to think, is this company right for me? And that will help you feel a lot more chilled out rather than thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm right for them. They might not think I'm right. Go in and think, are they right for me? And I know I'm good. Are they good enough that I want to accept the job offer? So they also have to prove to you that they are a great employer. So also come to the interview prepared with questions, just so you can help figure out if they're the right company for you as well. And everyone has their own priorities and non-negotiables and the types of companies they want to work for. So if you go in with those questions and questions to help you figure out the answers to those, you will feel much more prepared, and it will also look good from their side as well. And once you flip it around like that, and once you start thinking like this, you will notice that your confidence when going into interviews massively improves. But obviously there's still a fine line between being confident and then being overconfident. So you don't want to become complacent. You still need to go in and try your best and still go in with an open mind and know that you could get rejected and it might not be for you, but you need to be comfortable with whatever happens either way. So just go into that interview being prepared for any outcome and just go in with the aim of showing your best self. So I hope you found this video helpful and insightful, and I hope me sharing my job search process, my preparation for interviews and writing cover letters has been helpful for you. If you enjoyed, please give it a like, comment down below, please subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see next.